Welcome to my TLC Lastest Update channel. Christine Brown started her day like usual, coffee and all, but something felt off. A weird vibe she couldn't shake, a heavy quiet hung over her house, making her uneasy for the first time in ages. Fans know Christine as the tough, confident woman who stands tall. She's dealt with a lot, splitting with Cody and the sister-wife stuff. No matter what, she always kept it together, staying strong for everyone, but today was different. Sitting on the couch, her phone buzzed with a number she didn't know. A cold feeling hit her chest, and she hesitated. She'd learned that some calls change everything. And this felt like one of those times. She answered. At first, it sounded normal, a calm voice, trying to be gentle. Then came the words, "Christine, I'm so sorry, there's been an accident." Christine froze. The room spun. Her heart raced. She was confused. She tried to speak, but nothing came out. The voice went on, explaining, trying to keep her calm, but each word made her world crumble. She couldn't believe it. The person on the other end was someone she loved, someone important, someone she shared memories with, laughed with, and trusted. And now they were gone. Christine's hands shook, her vision blurred, tears welled up. She tried to stay calm, but the shock was too much. She felt trapped in a bad dream. The truth started to sink in, bringing a wave of feelings. Shock, disbelief, hurt, anger, sadness, all at once. Christine questioned everything. How could this happen? Why? What did she do wrong? Could she have stopped it? The thoughts crashed around in her head, making her feel alone, even with family around. No one could truly get what she felt. Grief is personal, something only the person going through it can understand. Christine tried to stand, but her legs were weak. She felt like she would fall. Her heart raced, and she couldn't breathe. She gripped the phone like it was keeping her real. Then, Christine knew something scary. This wasn't just any loss, this was a major tragedy. The person wasn't just someone she knew. It was someone she loved like family, someone there for her during hard times, someone who stood by her when she felt alone. And now, they were gone. As it hit her, Christine thought back, all the times with this person, the good, the bad, the laughs, the tears, the fights, and the quiet moments. She remembered how they supported her, even when others didn't, how they always believed in her, even when she didn't believe in herself. The way they made her feel safe and loved. Now, those memories felt like a stab in the heart. Christine sat there, frozen. She felt trapped. She wanted to scream, to run, to escape the hurt, but she couldn't because the truth was there. The loss was real, the grief was real, and it was happening. Minutes passed, and Christine kept replaying it. The voice, the words, the shock, the hurt. She couldn't stop thinking about it, feeling it, wondering how she'd get through it. Finally, she hung up and sat in silence. The room felt empty, like the air was gone. She looked around, but everything felt different. Like the world was dull. Even simple things felt too hard. She couldn't think about cooking, cleaning, or anything. All she could think about was the person she lost, the person she loved, the person who was no longer there. Grief is not something you can prepare for. No matter how strong you are, grief can break you down. It doesn't matter if you're famous or not. It doesn't matter if you're strong or not. It doesn't matter if you have fans. Grief is a basic emotion and it affects everyone. As the day went on, Christine tried to deal with it. She tried calling family, but her hands shook. She tried talking to friends, but couldn't find the words. She felt like she was in a fog. And in that fog, she knew her life had changed. The person she loved was gone, and they weren't coming back. Christine's grief was obvious. It was beyond her control, a pain too deep. As the news spread, fans felt her loss. They watched her struggle and felt her pain, because when someone loses a loved one, it affects everyone who cares about them. For Christine Brown, this was a big loss, a heartbreak for the whole sister wives world. When word got out about Christine Brown's awful loss, everyone was confused and really wanted to know what happened. The internet was all over it, with people posting stuff like, "What happened to Christine? Who did she lose? I can't believe this." But it was more serious than people thought. It wasn't just any sad thing. It was a really deep hurt, and it involved someone she'd been close to for years. That's what made it so hard. Christine's always been pretty private. She didn't show everything on TV or use her problems for entertainment. She kept her feelings to herself and only shared what she could manage. But this time, the sadness was too much to hide. Fans always thought Christine was super strong, like she could handle anything. But now, she had to face something really tough. She's not unbreakable. It wasn't just some distant relative or friend she lost. It was someone super close, someone she trusted more than anyone, who was there for her through tough times. And the worst part, Christine didn't even get to say goodbye. That's what made the loss so mean. It all started years ago. Way before the cameras and fame, Christine's life was always tricky, but her family was her rock. She learned to depend on the people closest to her and to trust those who stuck by her, and she learned that family isn't always blood sometimes. Family is just love. The person Christine lost was like family, someone who always had her back, who helped her when things fell apart, someone she could always cry to. This person wasn't just around, they were a huge support, a real foundation, a guide, and now that light was out. When people found out the details, they saw how bad it really was. It wasn't just a random accident or something. It was way sadder. It could have been stopped, and that made it even worse. People wondered, could this have been avoided? Was there something Christine could have done? Could someone else have done something? But honestly, some things you just can't control. No matter how much you love someone or try to keep them safe, life can still throw you curveballs. Christine's sadness wasn't just in her head. It was deep down, a constant ache that stayed with her. It was the kind of hurt that doesn't just disappear when the cameras are off. When you lose someone you love, everything changes. The day after the news, Christine looked totally out of it. She seemed like she had no energy left. She wasn't the same Christine fans knew. She was broken. The loss changed her. It took her strength. And left her with a hole that no one could fill. As time went on, more came out. People learned about the person she lost, that they were close to Christine and her family. They were great with her kids, and the family really trusted them. This person was around for so long that it felt impossible to imagine life without them. But now, that was her real life. Fans remembered how Christine always talked about her family with love and how she shared stories about those who helped her through tough times. She talked about the support she got and how important loyalty, trust, and love were. But now, the one person she trusted most was gone, and that's why it hurt so bad. It wasn't just missing someone, it was feeling like life had taken something she could never get back. Fans watched Christine try to stay strong, trying to do normal stuff. But you could see the pain in everything. Her smiles seemed forced, her laugh seemed fake. Any happy moment felt short because Christine was still heartbroken, and no matter how hard she tried, it was there. Some fans tried to help, saying things like, "Stay strong, Christine. We're praying for you, you're not alone," but no words could really fix anything. Because grief isn't fixed with words. You just have to go through it. The hardest part for Christine was knowing she had to keep living without this person. Waking up every day and dealing with them not being there. Continuing her life without them. And that was the worst. Because grief is not just missing someone. It's knowing they're not coming back. And for Christine, that was the hardest thing ever. As fans saw what was happening, they felt for her. They knew her life had ups and downs. But this was the toughest. It wasn't fighting with someone. It wasn't problems with the law. It wasn't fighting for love. It was fighting sadness. And sadness is the worst enemy. In the end, Christine's loss wasn't just TV drama. It showed that life is delicate and anyone can be broken, no matter how strong. And as fans watched Christine try to deal with it, they felt super sad and sorry for her. Because in the world of sister wives, where there's always drama, this was the realest and saddest thing ever. When a celeb or reality star has something awful happen in their life, everyone watches. But for Christine Brown, it wasn't just another moment in the spotlight, it was a personal, awful time that got pushed into the public eye. No one should have to deal with that. Christine always tried to keep her life private. She didn't often share really tough stuff on TV. She wanted to look after her family, especially her kids. But this loss was just too big to hide. It was a pain that makeup couldn't cover, or a fake smile. It was the kind of sadness that came out in little ways, like when she'd stop talking for a second, or her eyes would get teary, or her voice would crack when she spoke. The cameras were rolling. The fans were watching. The whole world was watching, and Christine had to face it. The worst thing about grief is that it's yours. It's something you feel deep down. You can't really explain it to anyone else. You can try, but no one really gets it unless they've been there too. Christine wasn't putting on a show. What she felt was real and honest. And that's why fans felt close to her. People had always thought of Christine as the strong woman who handled everything really well. She didn't show weakness, but now she was letting people see a side of her. They usually did in single quotes. She was showing how she could be hurt, and that made fans feel something new. They felt for her, they felt sorry for her, they felt real with her for once. Fans saw Christine as a person who was hurting. Not just a reality star, a personality, or a character, a person. The world saw her pain. And it was awful. Sometimes, Christine tried to keep it together, especially when the cameras were on. But grief doesn't care about cameras, or fame, or how many people are watching. Grief comes and goes as it pleases, and for Christine, it hit really hard. In one scene, Christine was talking to a friend. She tried to talk normally, but her voice shook. She tried to smile, but she had tears in her eyes. She tried to stay calm, but she couldn't. It showed everyone how much pain she was in. Fans watched her struggle and felt like they couldn't do Anything, they wanted to hug her and tell her it would be okay. But they couldn't, because you can't fix grief with words, you just have to get through it. Christine's grief, being in the public eye, added even more stress. She wasn't just sad privately, she was sad in front of millions. Everyone watched everything she did. People saw every tear and pointed out every weak moment. That stress was too much. Some people even said bad things about her, showing her pain. They said she was overreacting or trying to get attention. They said she was using her sadness to get people to feel sorry for her, but they didn't get it. They didn't understand that grief isn't a show. You don't choose to do it for attention. You can't control it. Grief is what happens when you lose someone you love. It's a normal feeling, and no one can judge you for it. The truth is, when you lose someone, you don't care what other people think. You don't worry about being judged. You don't think about how your pain looks. You just think about the person you lost. You think about the good times. You think about how empty your life feels now. That's what Christine was going through. Another tough part of Christine's situation was how it affected her family. Her kids had to see her pain. They had to see her cry and struggle. That's hard on any kid. Kids don't always understand loss. They don't get why someone they love is gone. They don't get why things have changed. They don't get why their mom isn't smiling anymore. That's a lot for a kid to deal with. Christine tried to protect her kids, but she couldn't hide her sadness completely. It was too strong, too big, and too real. Fans could see how it was affecting her family. They could see how her kids looked at her, worried and confused. They could see how the family tried to stay strong, even though they were hurting. It was heartbreaking to watch. It reminded fans that these are real people with real feelings, not just drama and entertainment. Christine's grief in the public eye also showed something important about reality TV. People forget that reality stars are people. They have families, feelings, and problems just like everyone else. And when something awful happens, the cameras keep rolling. The show goes on. The world goes on. And the person who's hurting has to keep going, even when their heart is broken. But even with all the pressure, Christine kept going. She was there for her family. She took care of her kids. She faced the world, even though she was falling apart inside. That's why her story is so inspiring. Even when things were at their worst, Christine didn't give up. She didn't let the pain win. She didn't let the loss ruin her. She kept living. She kept fighting. That's why fans admired her so much. In the end, Christine's public grief was a reminder that it's okay to be sad. It's not something to hide or be ashamed of. It's not something to judge. Grief is part of life. Everyone goes through it. Christine Brown's time was hard, painful, emotional, and heartbreaking, but it was real. It showed fans a side of her they hadn't seen before, her that was easier to relate to, more human and more loved. When someone shows their pain, it reminds us that we're not alone. That's what made Christine's story so powerful. For Christine Brown, grief wasn't just a feeling, it was like a storm brewing inside her, starting slow and quiet before suddenly exploding. It wasn't one big event, but a bunch of little things that set it off: a memory, a smell, a song, or some place that reminded her of who she'd lost. At first, she tried to stay strong, keep her feelings in check and act normal, but grief doesn't work that way. It doesn't care how tough you try to be, if you're on TV or have a ton of fans, or even if you're known for being brave. Grief just wants one thing: to be felt, and it won't let you ignore it. Christine spent days trying to keep it together. She smiled for her family, tried to be there for her kids, and tried to keep things moving forward. But every breath felt heavy with loss. Each time her phone buzzed, she hoped it was a message from the person she missed. When she heard a familiar voice, she'd expect it to be them. Everything that brought them to mind just broke her heart all over again. It was a constant reminder of what she'd lost, and it was just too much. Then came the moment everyone remembers, when Christine couldn't hide her pain anymore, when her sadness was too much to keep in. It happened during a regular conversation, one that should have been fine but went south fast. Christine was talking to a close friend, trying to talk about the loss and how she felt, but she couldn't get the words out. Her voice shook, her eyes got watery, and then she just broke. She cried hard. Not just a few tears that dry up quickly, but deep, painful sobs that showed how broken she felt inside. Christine's face went white, her hands trembled, and she covered her face, trying to hide it all, but it was too late. The cameras were rolling. The world was watching, and everyone could see her pain. It was a moment that made fans gasp and hold their breath. It wasn't just some little cry. It was a real moment of grief. It showed everyone that Christine wasn't just a TV star. She was a mom, a daughter, a sister, a human being who was hurting. The breakdown wasn't just sad. It was shocking because people were used to seeing Christine as the strong one who was always in control, calm, cool, and collected. But this proved that even the strongest people have their limits. Even the bravest people have weak moments, and even the most powerful people can be crushed by grief. As Christine cried, her friend tried to comfort her, holding her hand, saying kind things, trying to calm her down, but she was beyond that. She was lost in her sadness. The tears kept coming, the sobs got louder, and the grief was just too heavy. That moment became a turning point, showing fans how deep her pain went, how much she'd been hurting, and that her grief wasn't going away anytime soon. After the breakdown, Christine seemed different. Her energy was gone, her smile faded, and her spark was missing. She wasn't the same anymore. The loss had taken something she could never get back, and fans felt really sad for her. People online said things like, "I've never seen someone so broken. Christine is human. She can't be strong all the time. This is the first time I've really felt bad for her." But the breakdown wasn't just a sad moment, it was also honest. Christine showed the world how she really felt, no hiding, no trying to be strong or brave. She let herself be open. And that's what made her story so powerful, because you can't fight grief with strength, you can't win against it, and you can't control it, you have to accept it, and Christine was finally doing that. The breakdown also made fans wonder if Christine would get better, if she would ever be the same, and how she would move on. But grief doesn't mean you stop living. It means you learn to live with the pain. Christine's breakdown reminded everyone that even with a broken heart, she still had a life, responsibilities, kids, family, and fans who cared about her. It also pointed out how important support is. Christine wasn't alone. She had people who loved her, friends who were there for her, and family who comforted her. But no one can really take the pain away, they can only help you carry it. And that's what Christine's family did. They stood by her, supported her, held her when she cried, listened when she needed to talk, and gave her space when she needed to be alone. That support helped her keep going. The breakdown also showed fans that Christine's pain was real. It wasn't fake, overdone, or for show, it was real. And that made fans feel close to her, because when someone shows their true pain, it makes others feel okay to show theirs too. It reminds them they're not alone and that there's no shame in grieving. That's what made Christine's breakdown one of the most memorable moments on Sister Wives. After Christine Brown's really sad breakdown and the awful news, fans just wanted to do something. Even if they couldn't talk to Christine directly, they wanted her to know she wasn't alone and that her pain mattered. They wished to remind her that even when things are really bad, there's still love out there. As soon as the episode was on TV, social media blew up. Fans filled Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok with loving messages, prayers, and support. They didn't care about the drama or fights, or that it was a TV show. They just cared about Christine feeling okay. People wrote stuff like, "Christine, we're praying for you. You're not going through this alone. Stay strong. We love you. We're here for you." These weren't just comments, they were like medicine. Fans could show how much they cared and let Christine know her sadness wasn't ignored. Some fans shared their own stories about losing people they loved and how hard it was. They talked about how they got through it and found hope again. These messages were helpful because they showed Christine that it was okay to be sad and that lots of people knew how she felt. Fans came together like a team. They made online groups to send good vibes and prayers to Christine. They used hashtags like #PrayForChristine, #StayStrongChristine, #ChristinaBrownStores. Much support was sent that everyone noticed. Even people who didn't watch the show felt it. They saw all the love for Christine and couldn't help but feel something. The support felt really personal. Fans wrote messages from the heart that showed they cared. One fan wrote, "Christine, I lost my mom last year. I know how you feel. It never leaves, but it gets easier. Hang in there." Another fan said, "I don't watch Sister Wives much, but I saw you upset and felt for you. You don't deserve this. I'm praying for you." These messages reminded everyone that losing someone is hard for everyone, no matter who you are or where you're from. It touches other people when someone shares their pain. The support for Christine also showed how great social media can be. It's not just for fights, it can be a place where people help each other, and that's what happened. Fans sent Christine gifts, letters, and messages. Some even made videos to share their prayers and hopes for her to feel better. They wanted her to know she was loved and that people cared. Even famous people joined in, sending their support and showing that people outside the show were moved by Christine's story. This gave Christine something she really needed. Hope. When you're sad, hope helps. It reminds you that things will get better and that you're not alone. It was a lifeline for Christine, but people didn't stop there. Fans also supported her family, sending messages to her kids, telling them to be strong and that they were thinking of them. They told them that their mother was loved and that they weren't alone. This was really important because kids often have a hard time when someone dies. They might not get what's happening, but they feel sad and need to know that things will be okay. The fans reassured them, made them feel better, and reminded them that people cared. Fans kept supporting Christine in the weeks after they didn't forget or move on, they stayed with her. They kept sending loving messages even when the show's drama died down. That meant a lot because you don't get over losing someone in a week or a month. It takes time, the fans understood and stayed with Christine. Christine started to seem happier. She smiled and laughed again and shared happy times with her family, but she was still sad. The pain never really goes away. When you lose someone, a part of you is gone forever. But Christine's story showed that even when things are bad, there's still light, love, hope, and support. Fans watched Christine start to rebuild her life step by step. She got stronger not because she forgot the person she lost, but because she learned to live with the pain, and that was inspiring. It wasn't about forgetting. It was about getting through it, healing, and moving forward, even when it felt impossible. Christine Brown's sad story affected everyone who saw it. The fans who felt her pain, the people who sent her messages, and the world of sister wives. Because in a world with so much drama, Christine's story reminded everyone that real life can be painful. And sometimes the best moments show how human we all are. Christine's sadness reminded us that even strong people can break and that they deserve love, support, and kindness. That's what makes us human.